Um, all right, super. So today is actually very cool. We're starting with Kerry's struggling to join. There we go. We're starting with something called the source of all my good. And it's such a powerful meditation practice. I've been wanting to share it with you for a while, but I had to do a lot of research on it. So it took me quite a bit of homework. How's it, Kegs? How you doing?
Yeah, morning.
Good morning. Um, yeah, it took a lot of research to put it together. Even though I've done the meditation many times, but to teach it is a different story. And it was introduced to me a while ago. Very profound, very beautiful. But before we get into it, let's do some opening prayers, and we'll just do the mandala offering, which is we'll get into it now. All right, Patience is also joining. So let's take a moment, place 2 feet on the ground, and we're going to enjoy a nice deep breath in through the nostrils and sigh the breath out. Good morning, Pei. So we begin by imagining offering to the enlightened beings or angels or guides or whoever you connect with. We offer them a beautiful world. And in our mind, we create a world of abundance, a world where people have everything. Can you imagine that? And by imagining it, we create the karma for us to see such a world in the future. It is our karma that keeps us in this place where there are wars, famine, strife, disease, whatever. So I'm going to recite the Tibetan prayer, the mandala offering, and you can just hold that image of what that kind of world would look like, and then offer that to the enlightened beings. And if you know the mudra, you can practice it. Saji Bugi Junshin Meto Tram Rira Blinji Ninde Gimpari Sangye Shindu Mikte Uwagi Roko Namdak Shinla Drupa Shok Iram Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Then we invite a holy being to be with us throughout this session, to really come into our lives in every possible way. And as we do, we take refuge. May I become a Buddha or an enlightened angel as quickly as possible, so that I may be of benefit to all living beings. Sangye Chodang Soki Chognam La Janchu Badu Dagni Kyabsuchi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Rola Penchu Sangye Drupa Sho Sangye Chodang Soki Chognam La Janchu Badu Dagni Kyabsuchi Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Rola Penchu Sangye Drupa Sho Sangye Chodang Soki Chognam La Janju Badu Dagni Gyapsuchi Dagi Janzo Gibe Sonam Ki Rola Benjir Zange Druba Sho. We're going to carry on with a meditation. So please remain in your rested state. We'll start off by picturing yourself coming out of a dark forest. You're scared, you're afraid, you're hot, you're sweaty, and you're tired. You're tired of hiking. You've been hiking for a very, very long time. You've been lost. There's many scary sounds and wild animals and dangerous things. You resolve that you are tired of samsara, the realm of suffering, the broken world, and you want out. And you make your way. As you make your way, you find a path. You're not sure if this is just another animal path, but as you walk the path, it starts to widen, and it appears cultivated, as if many have walked this path before. You feel a sense of hope. Wow, maybe I'm on my way out of here. There appears to be something secure and solid that, and I trust this because the path is beautiful, it's well traveled. And as you walk, there appears a beautiful grassy meadow. There's a clearing. The sun is shining. There's no more darkness that is covered by the massive trees and jungle. And you step out into this beautiful grassy meadow. There's a beautiful lake at the bottom of the meadow. There are flowers. And it is the most incredible meadow. Such beauty, butterflies. And you feel a sense of relief. Oh my gosh, this could be it. I've found my way out of the forest. You look at your arms and your legs, and they are covered with cuts and thorns. You wonder, how is it possible that this beautiful place is in front of me? And through the Dharma, we know that such places exist. It's just that we never had the karma to see it. As we walk through the meadow, we see a river on our right-hand side. And it turns to the left and then somehow disappears behind a slight mound in front of you. The meadow that you are in represents your desire to be out of samsara completely. You want to seriously start your quest to become totally enlightened as soon as possible, if at all possible in this very lifetime. You walk up the rise of the mound, and having reached the top, you look down and you see before you a fascinating scene. On the far shore of this massive river, which is partially obscured by mist, you see a set of stairs leading up to a large triangular building. I often think of these ancient pyramid Aztec ruins, that kind of a shape, with these stairs that lead up to it, very ancient. And on the near shore of the river to you in the meadow is a boat. It's kind of like a Viking looking boat with all that ornamental carvings. It's a small boat though. And as you look at the boat, you see someone down there. It is your teacher, your Lama, your Guru. And they are calling you to come to them, whether they're male or female, whether they are a deity or a human being. And you are so keen to see your teacher and what they have in store for you. You run down to the beach. Upon reaching them, they smile, they are happy that you joined them, and you prostrate 3 times. So make a mental prostration in your mind, 3 of them. This is not an act of worship, it is an act of respect and adoration. Your teacher, your Lama, says, it's now time to begin your journey. And with excitement and butterflies in your stomach, get into the boat. And magically, it just glides by itself across the river. It has no sails. It has no engine. It just moves by itself. And you sit on the boat with your teacher, and both of you are overjoyed at this majestic scene. And as this boat glides itself across the river, you think about all the good things that have happened in your life and that have prepared you for this special opportunity to have the leisure and the fortune to study the Dharma and to become a candidate for tantric enlightenment in this life. This is remarkable. Something to seriously rejoice over. And if there's one thing in this life to be happy about, it's this. There are so many beings that do not have this opportunity. In fact, the power to glide across the river comes from your guru, your teacher, and they're going to guide you throughout this journey. The boat comes to the broad set of stairs on the other side of the river. It stops. It gently rests against the jetty. And you stop and get out, both of you. Your Lama guides you up the stairs to this triangular shaped building with a set of ornate midnight blue double doors at the apex of the triangle to your right. He gestures you, or she gestures you, to open the doors. And that is the first part of our meditation. Let us take a nice deep breath in through the nose and breathe it out the mouth with control. Okay, brilliant. Welcome everyone. Welcome Catherine and Internet. Thanks for joining. Lovely to see everyone this morning. How cool is that meditation? I just love it. I love it. It's the start of a beautiful journey. And it's a journey called the Lam Rim. We're going to get into what the Lam Rim is. But first, let us see here. I've got too many things open, right? Where is that other one? All right. And I'm going to read to you the prayer. And this is going to be a memorization assignment. Okay. So homework. I never give you guys homework, but now you're going to get lots of homework. Memorization is fantastically brilliant for your brain, for your mental health. Okay. Because you're working your prefrontal cortex, you're taking it to the gym. And I find it to be phenomenal. And it is a form of meditation. There are different types of meditation. There is focus meditation, where you focus on your breath or the image of a Buddha or whatever, you know. Then there is review meditation, which is where you contemplate sort of things that you've studied or read or a verse, etc., and you review it, you contemplate it. And then there's that is kind of what we're doing now as we study the phrases. And then there's analytical meditation, where you have a subject like I could die today, you know, is that a possibility? Emptiness, what is emptiness? What is impermanence? Where you analyze something, okay, where you unpack it. So this is a particular review meditation. I'm going to share my screen with you and I'll take you through it. Consider this as a transmission, all right? As I read it, you are receiving spiritual energy. from this prayer. This prayer, or these lines, were given by Je Tsongkhapa, which I will tell you who he is. He wrote this to one of his disciples. So it is it's sort of written to a guy. So please don't be upset that there's no mention of a lady, but just transform the word son to daughter, if that makes sense to you, because it's a letter to his male student. Okay. See, I'm very PC, right? Such a modern male. There we go. Okay. All right. So here's the prayer. Are you ready? This is a transmission, and consider it to be sacred and holy. I bow to the high and holy lamas. As far as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all high teachings of the victors, the path that their holy sons commend, the entry point for the fortunate seeking freedom. Listen with a pure mind, fortunate ones, who have no craving for the pleasures of life, and who make leisure and fortune meaningful, strive to turn their minds to the path which pleases the victors. There's no way to end without pure renunciation, the striving for pleasant results in the ocean of life. It's because of their hankering life as well that beings are fettered, so seek renunciation first. Leisure and fortune are hard to find, and life's not long. Think it constantly. Stop desire for this life. Think over and over how deeds and their fruits never fail, and the cycle's suffering. Stop desire for the future. When you've meditated thus and feel not even a moment's wish for the good things of cyclic life, and when you begin to think both night and day of achieving freedom, you've found renunciation. Renunciation, though, can never bring the total bliss of matchless Buddhahood unless it's bound by the purest wish. And so the wise seek the high wish for enlightenment. They swept along on 4 fierce currents, chained up tight in past deeds hard to undo, stuffed in a steel cage of grasping self, smothered in the pitch black ignorance. In a limitless round they're born, and in their births are tortured by 3 sufferings without a break. Think how your mothers feel. Think of what's happening to them. Try to develop their highest wish. You may master renunciation in the wish, but unless you have the wisdom perceiving reality, you cannot cut the root of cyclic life. Make efforts in ways then to perceive interdependence. A person's entered the path that pleases the Buddhas when, for all objects in the cycle or beyond, they see that cause and effect can never fail, and when for them they lose all solid appearance. You've yet to realize the thought of the able as long as 2 ideas to you seem disparate: the appearance of things, infallible interdependence, and emptiness, beyond taking any position. And at some point they no longer alternate, they come together. Just seeing that interdependence never fails, it brings realization and destroys how you hold to objects. And then your analysis with view is complete. In addition, the appearance prevents the existence extreme, emptiness, that of non-existence. And if you see how emptiness shows in cause and effect, you'll never be stolen off by extreme views. When you've grasped as well as I have the essential points of each of the 3 principal paths explained, then go into isolation, my son. Make mighty efforts and quickly win your ultimate wish. These instructions were imparted to Nawang Drakpa, a friar from the Sako district, by that very learned Buddhist monk, the glorious Lobsang Drakpa, which is the other name for Tsongkhapa, Lama Tsongkhapa. All right, there's the prayer. The first 2 lines relate to, oopsie doopsie, where did it go? The first 2 lines relate to coming out of the forest, seeing your teacher, who you bow down to, at the river. And then the second one, as far as I'm able, I'll explain the essence of all the high teachers of the victors, the path that their holy sons or daughters commend, the entry point for the fortunate seeking freedom. That's the entry point, are the stairs leading up to those big double blue doors. Okay? So that's your home practice, is to memorize this, and the Tibetan as well. Just kidding, not the Tibetan. But isn't the Tibetan calligraphy beautiful? It's stunning, absolutely stunning. All right. So let's see. Thanks, Catherine. I saw your comment. Right, then I'm going to just give you a quick little journey into let me share my screen. There's a lot of different things I need to navigate between, so please be patient. There we go. And guys, if you have any questions at any time, please jump in. You don't have to sit there all quiet. As you know, I love engagement. I love to hear from you. Just want to move things around there. Okay. It's a square thing. Right, there we go. Okay. So this here is an ancient depiction of Je Tsongkhapa. Lobsang, his monk's name is Lobsang Drakpa. Okay, that's his initiated monk's name. And I'll read a little bit about him. He was born in 1357 and he died in 1419. He was perhaps the greatest commentator in the 2,500-year history of Buddhism. He was born in the district of Songkha in eastern Tibet, and he took his vows at a very young age. As a teenager, he had already mastered much of the teachings of Buddhism, and he was sent by his tutors to study at the great monastic universities of central Tibet. And here he studied under the leading Buddhist scholars of his day, and it is said as well that he enjoyed mystic visions in which he met and learned from the different forms of the Buddha himself. So he did go into a retreat and he prayed to Angel Manjushri, who's the future Buddha, and Maitreya, sorry. And then he spoke to this angel directly. The angel appeared to him and downloaded the Lamrim. The Lamrim is 18 volumes of Tsongkhapa's collected works, which contains eloquent and incisive commentaries on virtually every major classic of ancient Buddhism. It is a remarkable piece of work. He basically took Buddhism and compiled it in a beautiful structure, and it was flawless. His peers, his teachers were astounded at how brilliant he was able to do that. And it was called the Steps of the Path to Buddhahood in Tibetan Lamrim. His student was one of his first students was the first Dalai Lama. Currently, the 14th Dalai Lama is with us, but his first Bodhisattva incarnation was as a student of Tsongkhapa. And his students here that you see down below are Gyaltsab Je and Khedrub Je. These were his main students at the time. Okay. Then fast forward to present day. This is my teacher, and his name is Geshe Michael Roach, not to be confused with a cockroach, because the surname Roach is quite deceiving. He says you mustn't kill cockroaches because he has a very special affinity to them. So please don't kill cockroaches. He is a remarkable being, and I do believe that he is Tsongkhapa reincarnated in this world. He's an emanation of Tsongkhapa. I really believe that. So I believe that we're getting this from the source. He's wearing a funny yellow hat, which is a symbol of a Geshe, a master of Buddhist philosophy. He is the first American to obtain the title of Geshe. It's very, very difficult. It's a 20-year doctorate study. He did it in Tibetan. He is fluent in Tibetan, fluent in Russian, obviously English as well, and Sanskrit. Okay, well, I don't know about fluent in Sanskrit, but a deep Sanskrit scholar. He grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. He was an honors student with an interest in religion and social studies. He was awarded a scholarship to Princeton University. And after graduation, he went to study and live at Rashi Gempo Ling, which is in New Jersey, with his teacher, Ken Rinpoche Geshe Lobsang Tarchen. Before that, he went to India, and in the 1970s, and he went to the Dalai Lama. And in those days, you could literally knock on the door and the Dalai Lama would open the door and hello, come on in. Dalai Lama wasn't as well known or as famous. So he was very accessible. He still is, by the way. And Geshe Michael Roach at that time said, "Your Holiness Dalai Lama, I want to stay here with you and I want to study with you in India." And the Dalai Lama said, "No, you must go back to America. There's a plan for you. You must go to New Jersey and you must become the student of Ken Rinpoche, Geshe Lobsang Tarchen." Okay. So he did. In 1995, he completed his studies with Ken Rinpoche. And at Sera Monastery in India, he became the first American to be awarded the Geshe degree. While completing this work, he also developed and taught 7-year ACI Foundation study programs, which parallels the same core information taught at the Tibetan Buddhist monastery. These 18 courses captures the essence of the 6 great books of Buddhism. So he made it very accessible to Westerners, to us, which is fantastic. And no one has done it quite like he's done it. No one has done it better, actually. His teacher, Ken Rinpoche, which is quite a fascinating individual. So here's a picture of Geshe Michael as he is today. He's not wearing his robes. He has embarked on a business project in China. So basically, he's teaching Chinese people Buddhism under the guise of business, which is quite risky, considering that the Chinese have banned Buddhism. And they won't say it outright, but you're not allowed to teach Buddhism in China. But Geshe Michael is teaching thousands and thousands of people in China Buddhism. It's very, very dangerous thing to do. He's very brave. He's very brave. He has thousands and thousands of students all over the world. He's extremely famous, and I've had the absolute pleasure to meet with him. This is his teacher, Ken Rinpoche, Lobsang Tarchen. His dates from 1921 to 2004. He was born in Lhasa in Tibet. He went to Sera Monastery. He completed the 25-year program, and he was studying under great teachers directly in the lineage of Je Tsongkhapa. After his final public exam, he was awarded the highest degree of Shlarampa Geshe, which is a Doctor of Philosophy, and he graduated with the highest honors in his class of 10,000 monks. He went to the USA in 1972. He became the abbot of Rashi Gempo Ling Temple in New Jersey. And after going to South India in 1991 and serving as the abbot of Sera May Monastery, he returned to the United States. He was a lifetime director and abbot emeritus of Sera May Monastery, as well as the founder of the Mahayana Sutra and Tantra Center, which has branches in New Jersey and Washington, D.C. And he was the spiritual director of ACI. Every time Geshe Michael speaks of him, he cries. beautiful connection. This is Lama Sumati, aka David Stumpf. He is my direct teacher, and I attend classes with him every week, every Tuesday evening. He is a monk. He became a monk 2-3 years ago now, and his name changed from David to Lama Sumati. He is a rocket scientist, believe it or not. Very smart guy. What is a monk doing being a rocket scientist? Well, that's just a passion of his. He's also a biochemist. He's extremely smart, but he is a devoted student to Geshe Michael. And him and his wife, Sarani, they're still together, but obviously their marriage has changed because he's become a monastic. They built Diamond Mountain, which is the retreat center in Arizona. Quite an amazing story, because they went to a teaching of Geshe Michael. His wife was totally blown away. He didn't understand a word that Geshe Michael was saying, and asked his wife if she wouldn't mind unpacking what it was all about. They became incredibly devoted, that when they heard that Geshe Michael had obtained property in Arizona, they built a house in the middle of nowhere. And they said, this is the start of Diamond Mountain University, Diamond Mountain Retreat Center. It was a massive risk. Can you imagine going into the Karoo, building a house because your teacher decided this is where it's going to happen, in the hope that people will come, and you put your life savings into that house? Well, that's what they did. And you know what happened? People started coming. And now it is the largest retreat center in the Western world, with over 50 cabins accommodating 3-year retreats for people that just want to dive deeply into their practice and obtain and reach enlightenment. So that's pretty cool, don't you think? So that's sort of the lineage of the source of all my good. And it's a journey. It's a very cool journey. I want to share the journey with you. So there's kind of like it's a wonderful way to actually learn something, right? Is through a story. I love stories. I love storytelling, especially it helps with learning. I think any of you that are teaching children, I think Kerry, maybe you'll agree that if you give them some sort of a, what do you call it? What do you call this? Like an organogram, or I'm not sure exactly what you would call this, but as you can see here, we started there, right? At the stairs, the river, the meadow, the stairs, that's point A, okay? It relates to the lesser scope. So remember, I've taught you guys lesser scope Buddhism, medium scope Buddhism, greater scope Buddhism, okay? Lesser scope, medium, and greater. Lesser scope is the Hinayana. I want to obtain enlightenment for myself so that I can become a Buddha and help all beings, okay? Medium scope, I want to attain enlightenment. Lesser scope is to get out of suffering. I'm getting confused. Please, I apologize. Lesser scope is I just want to get out of the suffering life. Medium scope is I want to practice a path and become enlightened, and greater scope is I want to do it for everybody else. Okay, so we're going to be journeying from this point to the end point, which is a courtyard at the top, and it's a big journey. It's a big meditation. Once we finish it, the meditation on its own, oh yeah, you can see my screen, right? Yeah. Meditation is about 40 minutes in its entirety. Like, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty big. Yeah, so I just wanted to check if there are any comments or questions with regards to this. You guys happy? Cool. Okay. I'd like to just go through the meditation that I gave you. So it starts off with you in the jungle or in the woods. Okay, you're lost and you're getting hurt, and there's things biting and stinging, and you're getting cut by thorns, and it's not a lekker place to be. Okay, it's tough. So that relates to the realm that we find ourselves in, samsara. And the Buddha said this place is a broken realm. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, Buddha basically said samsara is like a bad dream. It's a nightmare. Things don't work out here. Nothing works out. Those that have lose what they have. Friends become enemies, and vice versa. There's no consistency. There's just change, massive change all the time. And we are faced with a problem, which is Kega Nachi. That's Tibetan for birth, aging, sickness, and death. Okay? Those aren't pleasant. That's not cool. And we've become complacent. We're like the frog in the pot, you know, with the boiling water. And that water is hot, right? It's painful. But the frog is in there from the beginning. And it doesn't realize. I mean, there's other analogies of, you know, being in prison. And actually the door of the jail is pretty much wide open. I mean, we can step out, but we're so used to it. We're so used to our suffering. We think it's normal. We think that this realm is normal. And it's so interesting. I went to, oh man, I had a cool picture here. I don't think I have it anymore. Let's just see if I can find it. I used to live in this Buddhist temple, Lam Rim. And where is it? Ah, there it is. I'm going to share this picture with you. I haven't cropped it, so it's a bit rude. But this Kerry will remember this place. She was there. That's Lam Rim. And I used to sit in this beautiful space every day and meditate. I used to teach here. I started teaching here actually because there was no resident teacher at the time. If there was a resident teacher around, I would not have been teaching. I can promise you that. I guess it was good for me because it kicked my ass into getting used to teaching. The gold that you see on the Buddha at the back, that was done by my girlfriend at the time, Sam. She gold leafed that Buddha. In fact, before that, he had somewhat of a pink face. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Yeah, it's just so pretty. Someone came and did all this artwork on the back. The Dalai Lama actually visited here in 2004, and I had the pleasure of being blessed by him. He planted a tree in the garden, and it was my home for 3 years. And I used to clean the floors and the toilets and chase the beggars out of the property. They used to come and defecate in the garden. wasn't the most ideal. I mean, the location is in Fordsburg. Has anybody ever been there besides Kerry? No? Yeah. It's very hard to find as well. It's like everybody gets lost. It's like the most difficult place to find. It's like it doesn't exist, right? But it does. Interestingly enough, on a Saturday afternoon, the neighbors had a shebeen, and it was very noisy and loud, music playing, people shouting. It wasn't the most ideal place for a Buddhist center, but it was something. It was beautiful. In fact, it was really, as a funny story, is that one lady came, because before it was a Buddhist temple, it was actually a Inge Kerk. And the one lady came, Afrikaans lady, she says, "Oh, please let me in. I want to see where my husband and I got married 15 years ago." And I said, "You don't want to come in here. You really don't. No, please let me in." And I let her in and she was horrified. "Oh my God, what have you done to our beautiful church? You've turned it into the devil." I said, "I warned you." So it was an NG church. And it was interesting because you could see in the wood, in that beautiful wood on the floor, that I think Oregon pine floor, little indentations from the ladies' high heels. Sort of ladies would come to church in their Sunday best. So it's got quite a history. The property was actually bought by the Taiwanese, Nanhua, and they gave a particular person lots of money to buy it. Anyway, that's a very long and complicated story. That was really where I started studying the Lamrim. And when Geshe Michael sort of came onto the scene and started publishing his audio teachings on a website, like I didn't even know what a website was. We're talking 2001, 2002, right? What's a website? And a friend of mine said she was really tech-minded and she would download one talk. It was like maybe an hour talk. It would take her the whole night to download that. She would start the download at 5 p.m. and the next morning by 6 a.m. it was downloaded, which is probably a 20 meg file. Now you can download a 20 meg file in what, a minute? Depending on your connection. So we were really it was like a whole new experience and so wonderful. And then we made this connection with ACI, which stands for Asian Classics Institute. And we were like, please can Geshe Michael come and teach us in South Africa? And is there a web link? That's interesting. Let me just check on that for you, Catherine. I would love to go back. I would love to pop in. So maybe we should organize like a visit. There is a web link. Hold on, let's see.
They've got a resident teacher there.
Do they? No.
Yeah, Geshe Lobsang La.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Is he
Yeah.
teaching? So he's teaching.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you been to some of those teachings?
I have. And then I went on retreat and he scared the hell out of me and I haven't been back.
Why? What happened? Oh, you don't have to tell us, but was it pretty tough? Yeah, I had a teacher like that as well. I think it was Chamcho Rinpoche. I was his attendant. Also scared me. I suppose scary is good in some ways. So I've just had a look. The website is under construction. It's down. It's lamrim.co.za by the looks of it. Unfortunately, it's down. But if you type in Lamrim, you'll find.
I can give the details of people that are involved in arranging teachings to Catherine, if she would like. Yeah.
Fabulous. Let's do it. I would like to go there on a Saturday or a Sunday and hang out and meet the Geshe and just reminisce on the place. That would be cool. So anyway, 3 years in a Buddhist temple, did it make me a better person? I don't know, but learned a lot. And there were wonderful teachers that came through. There was a resident abbot, his name was Geshe Damcho. He was also a Tlarampa Geshe. And if you think about it, now Geshe Michael's guru, Ken Rinpoche, that I showed you a picture, Lobsang Tarchin, when the Dalai Lama had to leave Tibet in 1949, these I'd say Buddhist nerds, right? These are serious Buddhist nerds. Like they proper study. They became masters of philosophy. They then had to walk 3 months over the Himalayas. Now, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they survived. They had no food. The Chinese were bombing Tibet. They were raping the nuns. They were murdering the monks. They literally bombed 6,000 monasteries and nunneries from the air, and they flattened them. Now, monks and nuns, they don't fight. They don't carry guns. They're peaceful. Why did the Chinese bomb them? You know, they wanted to eradicate all spirituality from Tibet. They wanted to destroy, but they didn't. What happened is that they opened it up to the rest of the world. When the Dalai Lama and the monks and the nuns, those that did manage to live and survive and escape, went to India. They made it to India. Ken Rinpoche was one of them, Geshe Michael's teacher, and my teacher, Geshe Damcho. Old, he's no longer living, but they were pioneers. They came into India, they started teaching, they started settling in northern India, Dharamsala, beautiful place. And I stayed there for a month. Actually, what a remarkable, beautiful place. I think it's like Shangri-La on planet Earth. If there ever was a pure realm, it's probably Dharamsala. And then what happened is people started coming to Dalai Lama's teachings, people like Richard Gere and Keanu Reeves, and, you know, Westerners started pouring in. And what happened is Tibetan Buddhism became popular in the Western world, and it's grown phenomenally. So in many ways, the Chinese, and I say this with respect to the people that lost their lives in Tibet, what the Chinese did is they opened up the teachings to the rest of the world, because it was very contained in Tibet. Too much. It was actually not a good thing. It was, the rest of the world had no access to these teachings. They had no access to the Lamrim, the source of all my good, and the Chinese opened that up, unfortunately, to the detriment of the Tibetan culture and the Tibetan people. So please understand that what you are studying, millions have died for, to preserve these teachings. The hardship that they went, they would pack their backpacks full of spiritual texts, and they would hike over the Himalayas with that on their back. And that was more important than carrying food. Yeah, to get that, to preserve these teachings, because they believed that these teachings will liberate humanity. So, I mean, it's this crazy story, right? And it's, I guess, a story of good and evil. And it seems as though good has triumphed in the world, but yet the world is still very broken. It's still damaged. It's unfortunately full of war, disease, famine, strife. So this jungle that we're in, the Buddha said that there are 4 noble truths. Anybody remember what the 4 noble truths are? Not Kerry, somebody else. What are the 4 truths, the 4 Arya truths that the Buddha taught when he came out of his enlightenment meditation? I'll be like Oprah, you in a car, you in a car, you in a car. Okay, a visualized car. Nobody wants to take a chance. Okay, Kegs, do you know it?
Life is suffering. Suffering can be ceased. There is a path to the cessation of suffering.
Yep.
And I know the 4th one.
You've got them in wrong order. Life is suffering. Next one. because the cessation is part 3.
It's left me, sorry.
Life is suffering. Suffering as a cause. There's freedom. There's a path. That's easy to remember. Suffering, cause, freedom, path. Okay? That is the foundation of Buddhism. The meadow, that you come out of the jungle and there's the meadow. That relates to the 3rd noble truth. Wow, look at this beauty in front of me. I didn't see it before. I didn't realize it's possible. I always thought I'd be stuck in the jungle. Okay, welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. Not fun and games, right? Terrible. Get out of the jungle. You know where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. You're gonna die. Axl Rose said it really well, you know. It's pretty much what it is. It's samsara. Who's the other guy from the Rolling Stones? Mick Jagger. I can't get no satisfaction. Da-na-na. Well, I try and I try and I try and I try. I can't get no. There's no satisfaction. Okay, he's saying it really well. There's no everything is really, there's no satisfaction in this realm. So we look for it. We desperately try and make it and cling to it, and maybe this guy will bring me satisfaction in my life, maybe this partner, maybe this job, maybe this life, maybe if I have kids everything will be good. If you know, we cling to that. So the meadow, coming out into the meadow, that's like, wow, there is liberation, right? There is, and the meadow also represents a path, which is the 4th noble truth, which is getting in the boat. Okay, your teacher in the Tibetan Buddhist lineage, it's very important to have a teacher. A lot of people say, I don't need a guru. Gurus are useless. Gurus abuse you. Gurus. But if you think about it, let's say you want to learn how to play guitar or piano. Which is better? A live teacher that moves your fingers around the guitar, or a YouTube tutorial? So these days, everybody's learning stuff from YouTube or an app. But if you have a teacher that says to you, this is for you, right? Do you know this philosophy? Can you recite it back to me? Can you talk to me? What is your problem? Let's do it this way. I mean, and there's so much online that you don't even know what's beneficial for you. To have a live teacher that can sit and help you with your scales, can help you with your music or your studies, you're going to fast track. That's so much better, right? That's so much better. I guess it's very difficult for people to devote themselves to a teacher. Devote is a big word. I have a very healthy relationship with David, with Lama Sumati. And lately I sort of went through a financial wobble, and he just said to me, Mark, give me your banking account details. I'll put some cash into your bank account. Don't even think about it. Now, most gurus or teachers or priests or whatever are asking for money, right? And here in this lineage, they want to give you money. They want to make sure you're okay, as long as we're on the path with them. It's staggering. We went to the States. My teacher paid for the whole trip, paid for the accommodation, took us on a road trip. You know, it was incredible. So there was no selfish gain. They just want the best for you. So to find a teacher like that is truly remarkable, and hold on to them with both hands. But they want nothing from you. They don't want donation. Yeah, donations are donations, but they just want the best for you. They want you to practice. They want to see you get your ass out of samsara. They want to see you eventually satisfied. You know, the Karmapa always said, and I always like to say it, chasing after life's pleasures is like licking honey off a razor blade. Honey sweet, razor blade's gonna sting. So yeah, a little bit tough to think about samsara in this way. Oops, I just realized I've got another session I've got to jump into. I'm sorry, guys. I'm on this mental health app, and my session starts at 10, so I'm going to have to end it right there. Gosh, but thanks for coming today. And yeah, you can see I'm busy. Hey, Antoinette, you're looking great. All right, dear friends. Thank you for joining. We'll just do a quick dedication. Let me just mute myself. There we go. Ready for the next class. All the good karma from attending this session and for contemplating these ideas and just for being wonderful. We share it with the rest of the world. Gewadi kewokun. Sunam yeshe zozo shin. Sunam yeshe lechunwe. Tamba kunya topa sho. Magic. Thanks, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll continue with our journey across the river and enter the first temple next week. Okay. Much love to all of you. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.